Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids, and we're back for some more Mardek, and we are making our way through the catacombs here. And one thing I just noticed is this may have admittedly been in between episodes as I was on my way to or from a save crystal, but I believe that Vern has now finally mastered both the Smite Evil and the Smite Offensive reaction, and therefore we can finally swap over the Silver Sword onto him. One thing I suppose I should note, you actually can't just outright remove a weapon from someone. So if you see, like here, I try to grab it from Vern, grab it from Mardek. He doesn't let us. That's why you're hearing that sound. So I suppose that is a reason for holding on to an old weapon. We were talking a little bit about not wanting to remove every single old weapon that we have, not selling all of them, because you see here how we can actually use it as a conduit for passing some things back and forth. So there we go. We now have the bronze sword back on Mardek here. She is, actually, come to think of it, I think we have an iron sword, yeah, that we would prefer, because it is a little bit stronger than the bronze. So we can go that route for Mardek, and then we can have the silver sword on Vern. Mardek unfortunately didn't quite finish the Quarry Undead ability, the offensive reaction there. That was, I mean, at some point we would of course like Mardek to have that, but I think the priority is still for Vern to get that Quarry and the Disrupt Undead ability mastered, because he has more stuff going on with that sword than Mardek does. So if we have a little bit of extra time... Oh, hold on. That does mean we will have to remove the Smite ability in order to work on the Quarry Undead ability, and that is unfortunate because this is really strong. So that is a bit of a shame here. Oh, we also had a few other abilities that we did not have activated. Did we have Insomnia? We did. Okay. Let's do a quick check in that case. Other abilities for Emla. Oh, and okay, Emla has now mastered minus 10% magic defense. And I believe that means that we can now swap her over to the improved robe. So that is a good thing for sure. She did do a little bit of that briefly before the World Saviors fight, but we didn't have the opportunity to master it. So now she'll have both. As for Dugan, how are you looking? You have an offensive reaction that we have not yet worked on. Okay. Unfortunately... Or actually, this is defensive, I should say. Minus 10%. So, we don't have enough RP to also do the minus 20%. Would we like to sacrifice something like Soak 20 in order to get minus 20% damage? Good question. Are we late enough in the game at this point where 20% damage is better than 20 Soak? It might be. I think it might be. Probably make the case for either. And he's working on Earth Resist. Okay, sounds good. Mardek has mastered everything on the passive side of things. He is, ooh, one away from getting the evasion mastered, and that is something we'd like other people to learn as well, so definitely a good thing that we get that worked on. And there you see the Quarry Undead, not finished for Mardek. Hopefully, we can manage to get that done sometime soon. So, 9 chests in here. This is a large area, as I was saying before. Lots is up for us to find. Lots of enemies too, I'm sure, including some quick ones. And theoretically, should now allow Mardek to master that ability we were just looking at, the evasion ability. Didn't proc there, of course. Let's see, and... where are we on? We're on Emla. Okay. We probably want to take down the Spectre first. Typically, I think we've been prioritizing those guys, and that means either the Lightning Bolt or the Flame. Okay, for a second there, I was not sure if we were going to deal enough damage. I was a little concerned. Okay, the Skeleton goes next. You probably want to prioritize him next. However, that is not enough damage. Mardek, he is not going to have nearly as much offensive capability as he had when he was using the Silver Sword. I suppose there's something to be said for perhaps putting the Silver Sword on Mardek so that he has the additional effectiveness against Undead. And then Vern already had his Smite Evil ability, which meant that he could already deal a lot of damage against at least dark foes. So it would split the damage a little bit and make it so that we're not relying so heavily on Vern offensively, and make it so that Mardek is not incapable of dealing damage. But gives us an opportunity to work on the normal physical shield. And we have Master Smite Evil, as I was saying, so it is now up to Disrupt Undead. does deal a similar amount of damage. Oftentimes, I would say that those two abilities, they're actually rather similar to Smite Evil and Disrupt Undead, because oftentimes the undead foes that we'll run into are Dark Elemental, but in case they are not, that is an opportunity for us to use Disrupt Undead instead. Okay, and for the Corpse Drinkers, I think it's air. Yeah, it's air. Okay, let's hit him with that, and one down. Surely, Dugan, you can take this guy out, right? There we go. Not bad, and I do see the Fern is relatively close to leveling up. I don't recall... Ooh, Damage Soak and Evasion there. Okay, so we might be looking to swap some things around here. Vern is close to leveling up. I don't remember if level 8 will be a level in which he'll get an additional RP or not. Something in the back of my mind is telling me it will not be, but might be a factor. We'll have to double check. So Mardek is now done with everything on the Evasion armor. And Vern may have also conveniently just finished, not quite finished, his green chainmail. However, has Mardek mastered everything on Zack's armor? He is not. Okay, he can get the 20 damage soak. So that's good to see. That gives Mardek something to work on, and then once Vern is done with his own armor, then we'll probably end up putting on the bandit leather. So let's make sure that Mardek has that new defensive ability that he's working on. Granted, this is the same question we were asking with Dugan mere moments ago. 20 damage soak versus minus 20%. At least for the time being, we'll do this so that Mardek has the opportunity to master both of them, even if he can't use them both simultaneously at this stage. And here we find another instance where, if you look at what we're looking at right now, I mean, there's no clear sign of any chests or loot or anything like that. However, you see that we are standing right next to a yellow dot. This is, in fact, a hidden chest here, giving us some better potions, some more powerful ones. Only one, unfortunately, but certainly still nice to pick it up. And as for which direction we want to go next, there's definitely more loot up and to the left, so why not go there next? Okay, and now we have Blood Clots, which, remind me, those are foes that, yes, we want to hit with the magic abilities. So they do not have any magic defense, and this one is equally defensive against any elements. So like here, for example, you see the Skeleton is Dark Elemental, Pestilent is Earth Elemental. They are both undead, so here, previously, when Vern had only access to Smite Evil, he would have been effective against the Skeleton, but not so effective against the Pestilent. Now that he has Disrupt Undead, he can use that against the Pestilent and be equally effective to the both. Which also means that, by extension, it doesn't matter quite as much as to which enemy Dugan targets here. We have not yet mastered Barrier Break. And granted, both of these enemies heal when we hit them with dark damage, so it's, well, not going to help us taking them out. However, we'll bring Dugan a little bit closer to mastering that ability, so I think that's still okay. Here, so like we were saying, Disrupt Undead is actually something we can target the Pestilent with. Does, of course, allow the Skeleton to get hidden, which is unfortunate. However, now that does give Mardek the opportunity to master Shield ability, so you'd like to see that. And then it is, from an elemental standpoint, fire, right, yeah. And it's Skeleton, that's the way we ought to go. And we did get a couple of levels there. Oh, I didn't even notice that Emila was so close. We got another pole mace. Is that the kind of mace we got earlier? I think so. Double check. Insomnia mastered for Vern as well? Wow, okay. So lots of stuff we are in the process of mastering here. So Mardek did just finish, or... Oh, the normal shield ability. I was like, I thought it was on the Lapis Lily. No, that was the magic shield. So he's done with the Moonstone Ring. And it does have good magic defense. It does also have the Insomnia ability. I think everyone here has now mastered that. So it would mostly be a question of who would we like to have strong magic defense, and in addition, some inherent resistance to sleep, some spirit, and a little bit of light resistance. That seems like that's either a Vern or an Emila thing, because both of them do benefit from having additional spirit. Let's take a look at who has the lowest. Vern has the lowest magical defense, so I'm thinking give Vern this ring here, and he's actually going to have a ton of light resist, because this gives 50, this gives 15, and he is light elemental himself, so that's an additional 20. So he is very resistant to light. And the pole mace we picked up, this one and the same as the one that we just found as well. Oh no, a mace and a pole mace. Hold on. Is this a great sword, technically? No, a staff? Who can wield this? No one at the moment. A metal staff with a mace head on the end, used by those magic users that prefer to bludgeon things as well as cast spells. Okay, so nothing we can do with that at the moment. And then I think that was everything that we wanted to do from a gearing standpoint. Vern is very close to being able to put on the bandit leather, but not just yet. So we kind of want Vern to get hit. And we also, let's see, we've done this. There was something else that we wanted to double check, I thought. Or maybe I'm just getting ahead of myself here. Apparently it was that. Okay, so let's carry on. Going up here and... Again, if we look at the map, we find that there's something over here. There's that gold dot. However, no clear sign of a chest anywhere. But, more potions. So let's give these to Vern. And you will see that this is one of those instances where there's a lot of stuff hidden on the map in this location, so all the more reason for us to be checking that frequently. We should be on the lookout for hidden goodies such as those. And sure, the potions and better potions, maybe not a huge difference maker, but you never know what you might find next. And now, remind me again, the Spectre is, okay, either air or fire. So that should work. Oh, Emila leveled up, that's what I was thinking of. And there was an acid Vern, so that meant we might have potentially had access to a new reaction point. However, I don't think I noticed us being able to use any additional abilities, so that may not be relevant just yet. Okay, and as for Dugan, I think we've established you cannot take down a skeleton in one hit, unfortunately, because they do have higher defenses than those bats there, so we'll focus on the bats, and that does mean Vern can use Disrupt Undead, probably on the skeleton, not on the bat. The bat, I don't believe is technically undead, I'm pretty sure it is still a beast. An aerial? Oh, okay, that's its own category. Remember that. And then Mardek has now mastered all of his active skills here, so we can switch back to using his physical attack, and that's actually fairly strong. We did give him the new sword. It's not as new as the silver sword, yes, but it does have a higher base damage than even the silver sword, actually. It doesn't have the additional effectiveness against undead foes, but it is more powerful than other weapons that you've been using for standard enemies, non-undead enemies. Okay, good. We do want people to attack Vern, like I was saying, and that should be enough for him to master that other ability that we were waiting for him to get. And now... I think we target the zombie. Actually, we might have wanted to go for the skeleton, because Dugan might be able to take down the zombie in one hit, whereas we have established he cannot do so with the skeletons. We'll rely on Vern. He certainly can. Mardek, we've now established he can take down bats, for sure. Okay. I know I was saying we wanted Vern to get hit, but it's okay. You can stop attacking him now. He's fine. Actually, Vern is taking a fair share of damage at the moment. I probably ought to have paid a little closer attention. The skull is actually a crafting item for us, and there is the defensive reaction. So Vern, I'm sorry I said it, but, you know, there was a reason for it. We did want you to get hit so that you could master that minus 10% defensive reaction, and then now you can use the bandit leather, and that means you can use the +1 agility as well as the evasion. So hopefully that means he will actually get hits landed against him less often. I think he might have gained an additional ability point, because I don't think he was on 7 before. I think he might have been on 6. I don't know. I could be mistaken. And as for Emil, she has 9. Oh, she definitely did, because she has 1 more ability, or reaction point, I should say, than Dugan and Mardek. However, I don't think it made a difference there. Now, if we look at the map, we will see there's more stuff here. Right here, or here, I should say. Liquid Sound. This vial contains a vaguely liquid-like substance that cures silence when drunk, and even when sober. Wow! If you put it to your ear, you can hear a never-ending tune. As for who we ought to put that on, silence, if I remember correctly, basically the magic version of numb. So remember, numb prevents us from using physical attacks, whereas silence, I believe, prevents us from using magic attacks, so probably makes sense to put that on Emila. If we see this sign here, advertisement. Do you have trouble navigating your way through difficult dungeons and challenging cave complexes? Do you spend hours looking for a hidden passage that all your cooler friends know about, but you just don't? Visit Bob's Map Shop today for all your navigational needs. Thanks, Bob's Map Shop. So, you know, like, say if you were looking for some theoretical hidden locations, then, you know, you might want to, like, say, look at your map and find, well, once we finish this fight, there might be access to different locations that you didn't realize you could have gone to. Granted, if you were paying close attention earlier, keeping a keen eye out for what was appearing on the map and what was appearing when we were just walking around, we should have used Disrupt Undead there. But then you might have noticed there was a little pathway that we did not see over here somewhere. So, like say, you know, this? What? What could it possibly be? Where could it go? What is this all about? Well, you see, there are enemies here, first and foremost. Trying to spoil the party. Definitely want to use a magic ability against you. You have. Burn actually is quicker now that he has the bandit leather on. Remember, that gives him, it's either +1 or +2 agility, and also he is using the passive +1 agility skill as well. So he is now going before Dugan. You can use Disrupt Undead on one of these zombies here. Let's take out the stronger one. And oh boy! So we were previously, I think, using Disrupt Undead either against enemies that had higher defense or possibly even against enemies that were not Dark Elemental as well as being undead. And so it was not dealing, you know, almost quadruple digit damage there. That time it did. Came very close. And again, I think we're going to deliberately try to use Barrier Break. I know it does heal the zombie, but it is the last one that Dugan needed to use in order to master that ability. Zombie does manage to get hit in here. Unfortunately, Mardek was not able to single-handedly take it out. I'm going to take this opportunity to, at least theoretically, try to leech some mana for Emila. And then instead, Bird, who's actually running out of mana himself, will use Disrupt Undead again. He'll get ever closer to reaching that 1,000 damage mark. One day perhaps. And there is the Barrier Break Mastery, and that is significant because, well, actually, we have another Silver Sword. It's not something that Dugan can use, it is only a one-handed weapon. So this will actually be one that we could put on Mardek. I did not remember that we had 2 Silver Swords in here. But it does mean that Mardek can, of course, get the opportunity to master that Quarry Undead ability that he was working on earlier. Now, ought we deliberately wait a little bit longer so that he can also get that plus 10% damage? Obviously, the sooner we can get the Silver Sword on him, the better. But in the interest of getting this skill mastered as well, it's mostly a case of, do we think we'd master Quarry Undead first? I think we want to do the Iron Sword first, master that, and then from there, we will hopefully get enough. Oh, is that also a location we can go to? No, okay, that's not a secret location over there. We've been there. Okay, let's carry on then. Yeah, so I think we want to master the normal sword option, the offensive skill there, and then that way we can use the Silver Sword long term. I might, since there are just 2 zombies here, deliberately take this opportunity to leech some manas. And perhaps also... Well, there it is! Over 1,000 damage that time. Okay. Also, I was gonna think this might be a way for us to sneak in an attack with Mardek, get him a little bit closer to mastering that offensive reaction here. Really do need to do something on Burn, though, because he is not looking so great, both from a life and MP standpoint at the moment. So, let's take Mardek. Well, we want to use Mardek's healing ability here. he's doing okay from an MP standpoint. So it's theoretically possible, however, I think we have been accumulating our fair share of potions and whatnot. So, let's see who has the most of them at the moment. It's Dugan. Let's use some normal potions on Vern. That's actually just one of them is enough to bring him almost to max. As for MP, mana berries... I'm actually not sure if we've talked about the mana berries at all. They are quite a bit more unusual than the potions, however, they are a way of restoring MP. Oh, we have, because I remember we had a discussion about mana points versus magic points versus whatever MP stands for. Okay. So, case could be made for using that here on Vern. And here you see another instance of where referring to the map Chappé is rather convenient, because, you know, otherwise we wouldn't have been able to get to this location, which is actually where you need to go. This is not a quote-unquote secret area. You actually do legitimately need to go through here. And here, I mean, we did just see that there's a save crystal, so I suppose maybe we're a little preemptive with using that potion, but just one potion. We have a bunch of them, so not a huge concern there. And for that reason, do we have enough MP? We do just barely have enough MP for one round of Disrupt Undead. And there you see, we can use Disrupt Undead on the Pestilence, like I was saying before. They are not Dark Elemental, and therefore they would not take extra damage from Smite Evil. However, the Disrupt Undead ability certainly does deal fair share damage to them. Dugan still not able to take down the zombies in one hit. Do we prioritize the zombie, or do we prioritize that? Let's go for the zombie. That will, of course, still be able to sneak in a hit here. And I suppose it's not terribly significant for Emla to be leeching mana at this point. However, unfortunately, we are missing an opportunity for Vern to be using Disrupt Undead. And in fact, we're being really clever here. I might deliberately wait on Vern, and even Dugan, just so that Mardek can get the finishing blow here and get one more reaction learned on his sword. Is one gonna make a huge difference? Probably not, but might prove helpful. Get him a little bit closer to being able to use that second silver sword there, because how close is he at this stage? He needs 4 more? Okay, and if we obviously see the save crystal here. There are a couple of chests here still, including one, I believe it is right here. The Loom Juice, which is, of course, the way to remove numbness. And we did not have a lot of those earlier, so that should prove rather useful for us. And there are 2 doors here. I think on this occasion, I'm going to go back on what I said previously. And I'm at least temporarily, going to put the silver sword on Mardek here. I think you will see why in mere moments. So we will miss the plus 10% damage reaction here. However, it will allow us to put back on the Quarry Undead, which may or may not be relevant quite soon. We shall see. Actually, oh, hold on. Maybe I was mistaken. Let's take out the Spectres here. We can see there are 2 of them this time. It might be a little more difficult for us to take them out with just magic. In fact, we might have wanted to use the magic ability against both of them there, instead of just focusing on one. It is weak to light. However, that 25 defense means it's going to be almost impossible for us to break through that. Oh, also I wanted to see, is it technically undead? No, it is technically a spirit, and that is something entirely different. So Disrupt Undead, not going to work. I mean, we could theoretically use it just to, you know, get closer to mastering it, which perhaps we will do here. However, remember, Vern no longer has his Smite offensive reaction equipped, which is what we would have needed to deal any damage with him in that instance. As for Power Attack, that might actually have enough damage to break through that high defense here. Unfortunately, that would, of course, require that Dugan to hit, and there you see the first attack that a Spectre has landed against us. Reduce Dugan's Spirit. Which I suppose, not a huge deal for Dugan specifically. However, for some other enemies, or for some other allies, I should say, that might be something significant, like if, say, they were to reduce Emla, or in some cases, even Vern's Spirit, and Mardek as well. They all have reasons why their Spirit is useful. It is the way that we determine Emla's offensive capabilities. It also affects Vern's Smite offensive reaction when he's using that. And for Mardek, it affects the amount that he heals when he uses his healing ability. And so yes, I was a little preemptive, I think, with that swap. And a little ahead of myself. So let's deliberately swap back, and hopefully master that quite soon, because, well, the offensive reaction there, we're going to want that done and dusted very soon. However, there are many more chests for us to target here as well. 9 in this location too. So this is going to be a long and winding road a little bit here, trying to find where those chests are, and this appears to just be a dead end. Is it really, though? No hidden pathways here, does not seem. Gotta double check, can't be sure in this location here. And now, Vern has the opportunity to truly disrupt undead. Granted, I missed the offensive reaction there. Shame on me. There you go. If Dugan does manage to land one of the power strikes, then he does have the capability of taking those zombies out in one hit. Granted, probably did want to deliberately make sure that Mardek got the opportunity to get a hit in there, so that was probably not the best idea in hindsight. Another instance of an item here, and it is a lot of coins. Not bad, not bad. Okay, Emla again will target the Blood Clot. Vern does have the ability to use Disrupt Undead here, and we should target the Pestilent. High damage. I was saying it before, a ways back, that Vern was going to end up being one of our strongest single-target characters, and you might not have known why previously, but now that you see with the Silver Sword and with his various abilities, like Smite Evil and Disrupt Undead, they definitely start to add up to the point where he is doing the highest damage of anyone in the party right now. We got another Pole Mace here, along with Old Bone. We have not seen that one yet. That is another crafting item. Let's head back up and remind me as to which direction we were supposed to be going in here. Up appears to be the answer. And I'm pretty sure that we're going to be finding ourselves going down a hidden path relatively soon, so I'm going to be checking this map fairly frequently here. Yeah, we were saying earlier, might we want to deliberately try to hit both of these specters at once? We did just barely manage to take one of them out, however, we missed the other one. Again, Vern does not have his smite ability, so even if we hit the reaction, we're not going to be able to deal any damage there. Did we establish? Does the power attack work? I think Dugan missed last time. If he does land it, though, he can take it out, and that does mean that he can level up as well. Again, theoretically, could have managed to allow Mardek to get a turn there, get his offensive reaction a little closer to being mastered. Motion Potion. Don't have a lot of those at this stage. It is the type of potion that removes paralysis. I think on at least one occasion we have seen one of our characters get paralysis. Okay. There we see a little zombie friend. However, before we talk to said zombie friend, perhaps we ought to pick up this remedy, and perhaps, if we can, just sidestep around that guy, we will find an ancient sword, an old sword that was probably used by some hero in the days of old. It has runes engraved on it. So, if we take a look at that, we will find that it is a greatsword with 26 base attack damage, relative to the 20 that Dugan is currently using, so much better in terms of its raw power. It also gives the Spirit Blade ability, and I believe that is actually a magic defensive ability for minus 20% damage taken. So, in short, it is a fantastic sword, a great upgrade for Dugan, and we ought to make sure that we are taking a look at that magic defense ability there. Yeah, not bad at all. Okay. And now, perhaps we say a little hello to this zombie here. However, on this occasion, we actually ought to put on the silver sword here for Mardek. Because, well, I mean, we know this guy's going to be a zombie, right? He's going to be undead. It's the zombie locksmith. So, actually, I did not do this earlier. However, you saw that there were 2 doors when we were at that save crystal moments ago. One of them would have been locked. The one that I did go through was obviously not, because we were able to go through. So this is the zombie locksmith. And he is a bit of a mini-boss. However, if we click on this zombie locksmith, you will see that he has fairly high attack. He has, of course, high resistance to dark. He will actually heal if you hit him with dark damage. Very weak to light, and also a little bit weak to fire, similar to other zombies we've encountered thus far. However, if you look at what he has offensively in terms of gear, he's using a Keyblade, which is actually the single rarest item in this game. At least previously. Now, this may have gotten changed with the Steam update, I'm not sure. However, previously, this enemy had, I think it was a 2% chance of dropping the Keyblade when you defeat him. And so, it was no guarantee by any means. And it was a bit of a rite of passage, if you will, seeing who might be able to actually get the Keyblade off this guy. It would take a crazy amount of grinding. So, back when I was saying that I wasn't necessarily sure we would be 100%ing this game for certain, this is one of the things that I was referring to. Was that, well, wasn't necessarily sure we were gonna make sure that we picked up the Keyblade here. But I suppose, we'll see how it goes. There's a chance that the drop chance got increased here. We did also see that Vern got silence, which prevents him from using any spells, unfortunately, or doesn't have any spell abilities himself, so it doesn't make a huge difference for him. However, if Emla were to get hit by that ability, that would be bad news bears. Now, we did get the Spirit Blade ability that Dugan just picked up from the new sword. It is a slash that damages with soul energy rather than physical strength. It uses spirit rather than strength, and is useful against foes with high defense but low magic defense. So, if we look here, we see this enemy has fairly high defense, no magic defense, and is also weak to Ether Elemental. So, this is actually a perfect instance for us to use the Spirit Blade ability. Fortunately, Dugan does not get any status effects on him that time around. As for Mardek, that would be another person who we would not want to get any status effects because, well, I believe that would prevent him from using heal, or perhaps any of these abilities, really. At the moment, with his Silver Sword, probably still best for us to attack with him directly. Another thing we maybe should have done first turn with Dugan would have been to use the Barrier Break, because Locksmith did put on haste, a magic shield, and a physical shield. He does, of course, heal to dark damage, so theoretically we should have hit him with the Barrier Break at the very beginning before he had taken much damage, so that if he does heal, we're not mitigating several rounds of damage that we dealt to him. So we might be undoing a little bit of our progress if we are to do that, but I think long-term it is probably still the way to go. It's gonna be a little painful, though, because, well, you're gonna see that we're doing a sizable amount of damage here to him. But maybe it's not really necessary at this stage. If we could do it and deliberately miss our reaction, I think that's what I'll do. 62 is not a ton to lose there. Fortunately, Emla did not get silenced there. That would have been an issue. And Mardek, I believe, ought to just continue attacking himself. We should deal roughly twice the amount of damage we were dealing before with our physical attack, so that is why the Barrier Break should pay off. May have already paid off with even just one hit. Ooh, and there's Numb on Mardek, so okay, there goes Mardek's ability to use his physical skills. May not be strictly necessary at this point because we're getting pretty close at this stage, because, well, there you have it. Burn deals ginormous damage now that the physical barrier is gone, and Dugan, not quite enough just yet. Minus 12 agility for Burn. Wow. Okay, so there you see Mardek can no longer attack because he is numbed. We could opt to heal here, which is looking like a half-decent option, at least for Vern. He's taken several hits at this point. As for Emla, fortunately can still use her offensive spells here. Does still have a magic shield, so he doesn't take much damage there. Will Dugan be able to finish him off with Spirit Blade? It's going to be close. But that he can, and it is enough to level up Vern. And we did get the Keyblade, along with the Catacombs Key. So, I don't necessarily know, like I was saying before, is it something that is as rare as it used to be? Is it still a 2% chance to drop, in which case we got super lucky? Or is it far more common now? Is it guaranteed now? I honestly don't know. Maybe I'm also thinking of, that might have been the case in the very early Flash days, and then when Mardek 1 and 2 got updated, when Mardek 3 came out, then the drop chance may have increased at that point as well, but either way, at least at one point in time, this was the rarest item in the game. No, this doesn't have anything to do with Kingdom Hearts. Nothing at all. Not even a reference to it or anything. Alright. It is 26 base damage. So, we take a look at our Silver Sword. That is actually significantly higher than the Silver Sword. Doesn't have any reactions. It's mostly just relatively high damage. It is even higher damage than the mace, so it is, in that way, a strong weapon. Once we have mastered everything on the Silver Swords and on the Iron Swords, and we're not worried about deliberately using Silver Swords because they're effective against undead, then, theoretically, that does mean the Keyblade is the way to go. However, it's not like it's, an item that is the only way to get access to some extremely powerful skill, so it's mostly a meme item, but still very happy for us to have picked it up here. So, with that, I think this is probably a good place for us to wrap up this video, and I will see you all next time.